Hey everyone, it's me, Matt. Welcome back to my Florida garden. I hope you're all doing great, and I hope you're ready to hang out with me today because in today's video, we're harvesting bananas, and then I'm also gonna show you the chop and drop method for disposing of the mother plant and give you a couple reasons why you might consider using the chop and drop method for your banana plants too. So let's get into it. All right, so just a little recap of my banana grove here. I've got several mature plants. You can see these much taller ones here toward the top, and then there's quite a few smaller pups that are growing up from around the bases of the mature plants. So these bananas are actually dwarf Cavendish bananas. This variety is the same variety. It's a dwarf variety of the variety that you buy at the grocery store. So the plants themselves are smaller in size. They grow to be about 8 to 10 feet tall, and then their bananas are smaller in size than the traditional ones that you buy at the grocery store. But you can see this plant here that fell over. It fell over in a windstorm from the weight of the banana rack. I braced it up with this tomato cage to keep the banana rack off the ground. You can see here, oh, there's a lizard. You can see here the bananas have plumped up and they've actually started to ripen on the rack here. I have them surrounded with some hardware cloth because I've got raccoons that come visit my backyard at night, and actually last night one of them figured out a way to get in through the top, and they actually pulled one of the bananas off the banana rack. You can see it here, some chew marks, bit off the end. I'm kind of bummed that they didn't actually enjoy the whole banana because this is some good fruit here, and that raccoon wasted it. But you can see, I see there's some ants that are enjoying it. So I'll leave it there for the ants for now. So yeah, so today I wanted to get in here. We're gonna cut off this banana rack and bring it inside. And I'm also gonna prepare the banana hands. I'll cut the banana hands off the rack so that I can store them easier. I'll show you how I do that. And then we will cut the mother plant, the one that fell over, off at the base, and then we're gonna chop it up and we're gonna drop it around the base of all my other banana plants. I'll also come in here and trim off the dried up fronds and drop those down over the soil. I'll go over the reasons why you should consider chop and drop in just a minute, but first let's get in here and harvest the banana rack. So first I'm gonna quickly get in there and I'm gonna remove the tomato cage and the hardware cloth so that I have better access to the banana rack, and then I'll show you the saw that I'm gonna use to actually harvest the banana rack. So this is my handsaw. It's a Fiskars handsaw, 13-inch blade. This is my favorite tool to use when chopping, pruning, or harvesting anything off my banana plants. So let's get in there now and cut off the banana rack. So it's very simple. I'm just gonna slice right through the top of the rack. Simple as that. Check out my beautiful, beautiful bananas. Oh, this one popped off. So cool. So I've got my little rack of bananas here on my table, and before we go in and chop off the banana hands, I wanted to chop and drop the mother plant and then talk through the two main reasons why you should consider chop and drop for your banana plants. So these banana plants are very fibrous. The pseudostem, that's this structure, is called a pseudostem, and then you have the leaves or the fronds. They are packed with nutrients, including a ton of potassium. And in the fall months, I recommend here in Florida chopping and dropping, just like it sounds. You chop up the pseudostem and chop up the leaves, and then you scatter them around the base of all of your remaining plants, and it helps feed the other banana plants in your little banana grove. And then the plants, I guess, how do I say this? As the plants decay, they provide some insulation for all the other plants during the cooler winter months. We don't really get frost. It rarely gets below freezing here, but it can happen, especially here in Central Florida. I'm in the Orlando area, so anything you can do to really protect the roots of your banana plants, whether it's mulching or chop and drop method, I recommend doing it in the fall. And then in the summer, I really don't drop any of the fronds around the base of my plants just because of all the rain we get and the humidity. I really don't want there to be like a breeding ground for disease. So I refrain from doing chop and drop in the summer months, but in the fall, I would suggest doing it because it is beneficial for all of your other plants. Again, the nutrients from the mother plant as it breaks down, releases into the soil and allows all the others to absorb all that potassium rich matter. So let's get in here now. We will chop down the mother plant with the handsaw, slice up the pseudostem, chop up the fronds, and scatter them around the base of all the other plants. So for the drier leaves, I'm just gonna break them up with my hands and scatter them around all the other plants, and then I'll use my saw on the green leaves and the pseudostems. Actually, I can use my hands for these ones as well. So now I'm gonna clean up the underside of all the remaining plants. I'm gonna use some 70% isopropyl alcohol to sanitize my saw blade between plants just so that I don't spread any disease from plant to plant. So yeah, let's do that now. Clearly, I'm cutting some of the green fronds too. I'll use this as an opportunity to kind of clean up some of these fronds that are leaning over my walkway and just to help with airflow with all the other plants. Oh, that was a workout. I am all sweaty. Let me just clean off the walkway with my rake real quick. So that was quick and easy for the most part, although I did break a little bit of a sweat shredding up all these leaves. But you can see how I mounded all the plant material up around the base of my remaining banana plants. This will not only provide, like I said earlier, a ton of nutrients, a ton of potassium into the soil for my plants to absorb, but it will also help insulate their root systems during the cooler fall and winter months here in Florida. We don't typically get hard freezes. In the past, I've lived here 10 years, we've probably gotten below 30 degrees, I don't know, a handful of times. So this is more of a protective measure for my plants. But if you live in an area that's a little bit more frost prone and you've got banana plants that you're trying to overwinter and you leave them in the ground, I highly suggest doing chop and drop. It'll help insulate them. So now let's move on over here and we can prep the banana hands and get them cut off of my banana rack. So taking a closer look here at my banana rack, this entire structure is the banana rack. And then when you hear somebody say banana hands, they're referring to the clusters of bananas on the rack. So you have a hand here, here, so on and so forth. So bananas, if you cut them off of the plant together, the whole rack will ripen at once. But if you leave the rack on the plant, you can cut them off as they ripen. So you can see here, they ripen from top to bottom. So this hand up here toward the top, there's more yellow bananas on it. So you can prolong kind of your harvest. This was a small banana rack, so I'm not worried about cutting all of them off. But in the past, I have had some very large banana racks. They were 60 to 70 bananas total. And my goal when they're that big is to always try to harvest them off of the rack instead of all at once, because then you're left with 60 bananas, 70 bananas that you're trying to figure out what to do with. You can either share them with friends, or in my case, anybody who didn't want them, I chopped them all up and froze them for smoothies. Also really quick, I wanted to mention, you might see some black spots on my banana peels. I think that was due to lack of airflow. The humidity can sometimes cause, I don't know if it's fungus or mildew, but it doesn't affect the actual fruit itself. It's just kind of a blemish on the exterior of the plant. I think it happened because that plant had fallen over and there really wasn't a ton of airflow. I did my best to keep it off the ground, but I think there was just an airflow issue. Also, as the temperatures start to cool off, which I don't think they've cooled off enough, the cooler weather can sometimes cause blemishing on your bananas. So as far as prepping these bananas, you have two things you can do. You can either use a knife. This is a sharp pocket knife. You can come in here. Let me try to open this. You come in here and you can cut the hands off of the stem individually, which I don't think I'm gonna do. I'm gonna actually just use my hand pruners, and we're gonna cut the stem. I'm gonna try to do this one-handed there, and then we'll hook it around there. So we have this hand of bananas now, and then we'll come here, and the last one there. So now I've got my banana hands, and what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. About 15, I'd say closer to 12, because these ones are so tiny, and I also didn't count these little guys. So yeah, not a bad harvest. I'm gonna bring these inside. I will wash them because I think the raccoons, since the raccoons kind of got into them, I just want to wash them off with some food grade cleanser just to make sure that they're nice and clean before I chop into them. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's everything I wanted to tackle. We harvested the bananas. We did a little chop and drop, and apologies if there was a ton of wind today. It's been So sorry about that car horn. It threw me off my thought process, but I was apologizing for all the wind in today's video. It's been a very windy day here in Florida. But I wanted to wrap up by saying that I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you found it informative. If you haven't already done so, make sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons so you can hang out with me in future videos. And as always, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.